St. Peter has the keys. It might or might not be what you think. Most people read Matthew 16 as Jesus inventing something entirely new, pulling a promotion of thin air and handing on to Peter. He isn't. He's doing something that is actually quite ancient, and his Jewish audience knew exactly what it meant. Most people miss this, though. But in Matthew 16:19, Jesus says, I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Now, if you're a first century Jew, hearing that, your mind doesn't go to, like that keys. It goes straight to the prophet Isaiah. In Isaiah 22:22, God speaks to a man named Eliakim and says, I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David, and he shall open and none shall shut, and he shall shut and none shall open. Jesus quotes it almost verbatim. See, Eliakim, he was the royal steward of the Davidic kingdom. Kind of what we would call like a prime minister today. When King Hezekiah was absent, Eliakim governed in his name. The key that he held was a symbol of that delegated authority. He spoke for the king. He managed the royal household. The key was on his shoulder. It wasn't decorative. It was jurisdictional. Gave him jurisdiction to have authority. Now, here's what makes Matthew 16 so precise. Jesus is the heir of David, as we know back in the genealogies. He says so repeatedly throughout the Bible, but throughout the New Testament. But he's establishing a restored Davidic kingdom, the church. And just as the Davidic kingdom had a royal steward who held delegated authority under the king, Jesus installs Peter into that same office. This isn't a promotion that Jesus invented. It's a pre-existing office, it had a pre-existing meaning that every Jewish listener in the crowd would have immediately recognized. So here's the succession point, one that settles the papacy question, at least for me. Eliakim didn't create the office of the royal steward. He received it from a previous steward named Shebna, who had abused it. The office preceded him, and it outlived him. When Eliakim died, the office didn't die with him. It passed to the next steward. That is the principle that Jesus is invoking, not just Peter personally, but an office, a continuing role in the household of the restored Davidic king. The papacy isn't a medieval Roman invention layered onto a simpler gospel. It's a Davidic institution, older than the New Testament.